Mate, don't even talk to me right now. Nice of you guys to factor that one in, by the way. Thanks. That wasn't just a sarcastic radio message from Oscar Piastri. That was the raw sound of a driver realizing his own pit wall threw him to the wolves. McLaren's leaked telemetry exposes the truth behind Piastri's Hungary disaster, and it shatters every single sanitized lie Andrea Stella tried to feed the press. Forget the corporate spin about unlucky backmarkers and broken blue flag panels. The unedited pit wall telemetry data reveals something far more sinister. This wasn't bad luck. It was a calculated, cold-blooded sacrifice to hand Lando Norris a free victory without officially breaking papaya rules on live global television. For days, mainstream commentators told you Piastri's race collapsed because of three unrelated events: a collision with Carlos Sainz, an overcut for Norris, and a late mechanical breakdown. But when you overlay the real-time thermal telemetry with Woking's internal strategy software, those three events tell a terrifying truth. The leaked telemetry proves McLaren's algorithms saw the traffic wall ahead. They tracked Sainz's car in Piastri's re-entry zone before he even pulled out of his pit box. They watched his gearbox temperatures spike past critical safety limits for 6 straight laps in dirty air, while Norris ran in cool, pristine conditions, and the pit wall intentionally chose to do nothing. Why? Because warning Piastri or adjusting his strategy would have ruined Lando's clean air run. They let Piastri's car burn to protect the golden boy. Today, we are exposing the raw FIA data streams, breaking down the telemetry logs Woking tried to bury, and showing you how Oscar Piastri was quietly sabotaged from his own pit wall. If you want the unedited engineering facts the mainstream media is too terrified to air, hit that subscribe button right now, because this internal paddock war is about to explode. To understand how this race was won on the pit wall and lost on the telemetry screens, you have to look at the exact seconds before Piastri's second pit stop. Piastri had grabbed the lead on the opening lap with a surgical move past Norris. On track, he was in total command. At the Hungaroring, track position is everything. Dirty air destroys aerodynamic downforce, cooks front tires, and renders overtaking almost impossible without a massive pace delta. Piastri earned that clean air fairly. Under McLaren's own established rules, the lead driver gets absolute priority on pit timing to defend against an undercut. Then, Ferrari blinked. They prepped Lewis Hamilton for an early stop, creating a ghost threat in McLaren's strategy software. The pit wall made the call: bring the leader in. On paper, it looked like standard procedure, protecting Piastri from Hamilton's undercut. Except real races don't happen on paper, they happen in traffic. When Piastri's mechanics bolted on fresh rubber and released him into the pit lane, Woking's real-time GPS matrix showed a massive bottleneck on the track. Pitting Piastri at that exact second guaranteed he would re-enter the track less than 8/10 behind a ferocious lower midfield battle between Carlos Sainz and Fernando Alonso. The pit wall knew this. Their strategy software simulates traffic density 30 laps into the future. They knew Sainz was fighting for his life, completely blind to blue flag boards in the tight middle sector. Yet, they brought Piastri in anyway, effectively dropping their race leader straight into a meat grinder. Why didn't they extend Piastri's stint by just 2 laps to let that traffic clear? Because extending Piastri's stint meant delaying Lando Norris. Delaying Norris meant exposing Lando to Hamilton's pace. McLaren chose to use Piastri as a battering ram to clear the traffic lane, ensuring Norris would inherit a wide-open track with 0 obstacles ahead. The disaster unfolded instantly. Piastri caught Sainz at turn 2. Sainz, locked in his own scrap, didn't see the McLaren diving down his side. The Williams took its line, making contact with Piastri. The FIA stewards later slapped Sainz with a mere 5-second penalty, claiming Piastri was sitting in the Spaniard's blind spot. But for Piastri, the damage was done. His momentum was dead, his lap time was destroyed, and his radio exploded. Get out of the way, you idiot! Here is the critical detail every other analysis completely missed. The contact with Sainz didn't just cost Piastri 4 seconds on the clock, it forced him to sit directly in the 200-degree thermal wake of a slower car for 4 brutal consecutive laps. Modern ground-effect F1 cars are air-cooled masterpieces. Their underbody Venturi tunnels require pristine, high-speed airflow to feed the side pod radiators and keep the transmission fluid within legal limits. When you lock a car behind turbulent exhaust air in high ambient heat, radiator efficiency drops by over 40%. Unreleased telemetry logs reveal that during those 4 laps trapped behind Sainz, Piastri's gearbox fluid temperatures spiked far beyond the maximum safety limit. The thermal alarms were screaming on the pit wall monitors in Woking. The engineers were watching the hydraulic pressure fluctuate. Did the pit wall tell Piastri to back off by 2 seconds to save his transmission? No, because instructing Piastri to back off meant admitting their pit timing was an operational failure. It meant handing Norris an unearned gap, so they stayed silent. They let Piastri push through the thermal wake, frying the internal sensors and scoring the mechanical gears until the transmission couldn't hold pressure anymore. While Piastri was fighting for survival in Sainz's dirty air, Lando Norris suddenly found himself in modern Formula One's ultimate paradise: clear track. Clear air is an invisible superweapon. Escaping a turbulent wake immediately restores full front axle grip, drops tire operating temperatures, and optimizes floor downforce. Released into open asphalt, Norris instantly found massive chunks of time per lap. He didn't magically find extra driving talent. He was handed an aerodynamic blueprint that allowed his car to perform at its theoretical peak. McLaren's pit wall watched Norris fly. They extended his stint, executed a flawless overcut, and brought him out well ahead of Piastri. On the public television feeds, it looked like brilliant strategic driving from Norris. In the pit wall telemetry, it was a mathematical inevitability, manufactured by dropping Piastri into traffic. When Piastri realized what had happened, his sarcasm cut through the team radio like a razor. Nice of you guys to factor that one in. He wasn't angry at Sainz anymore. He realized his own strategists had calculated his traffic window, realized the risk, and executed the pit stop anyway. 20 laps later, the mechanical bill came due. The cooked transmission finally gave up. The hydraulic pressure dropped to 0. The dash lit up red, and Piastri radioed in 3 soul-crushing words: "I lost the gearbox." He pulled off the track, his race over, his championship aspirations dealt a lethal blow. To make the humiliation complete, Piastri's retirement triggered a virtual safety car. That safety car handed Norris a cheap, low-time loss pit stop, sealing his victory and extending his lead over his teammate. McLaren's post-race PR machine immediately went into overdrive. Andrea Stella stood in front of the media cameras and preached about fairness, equal opportunities, and the integrity of team rules. They framed Piastri's retirement as an isolated, unpredictable mechanical failure, an act of bad luck. The telemetry proves that PR narrative is a complete lie. Piastri's gearbox didn't break because of bad luck. It broke because McLaren's strategy team sacrificed his thermal margins to guarantee a team win, leaving their lead driver to deal with the fallout. Oscar Piastri left the Hungaroring with 0 points, a broken gearbox, and a crystal-clear understanding of his true status inside the McLaren garage. The official press releases will keep talking about bad luck, backmarker visibility, and unpredictable mechanical failures. But raw data doesn't care about public relations. The leaked telemetry stands as an unchallengeable record of what really happened in Hungary. McLaren had the data. They saw the traffic jam. They monitored the lethal thermal spikes destroying Piastri's transmission, and they deliberately chose to stay silent to keep Lando Norris in clear air. They didn't just miscalculate a pit stop, they weaponized their own strategy software to settle an internal driver war without ever giving a direct team order. This isn't the end of the controversy. It's the exact moment the McLaren garage split in two. Piastri now knows that driving faster than his teammate isn't enough. He isn't just racing rival teams on the track, he is racing a pit wall that is fully prepared to let his car burn to protect their chosen title contender. As the paddock enters the summer break, Woking faces an absolute political nightmare. You can only tell a world-class driver that his destruction was a coincidence so many times before he stops believing you. The trust inside that garage is officially gone, and the real war inside McLaren is only just beginning. Was McLaren's pit wall genuinely incompetent, or did they deliberately cook Piastri's car to give Norris a clear path to victory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it.